Some time ago, I published a video where I use this callback a lot, and someone reached out to me and said, hey, what is that? In this video, I want to try and clarify that. This is the iterator library. It is shortened to iter, and I want to show you exactly how it works. I want to try as much as I can because I think it's a little bit confusing, but it is not complicated. It's just people are not just used to programming in this manner, and I want to try and clarify that. All right, the most confusing part is this callback, which you see here. So let's start by breaking it down. As you can see, it's a simple, harmless function. It's so simple, you could have as well give it a name and say iter.Func or whatever, and maybe the receiver would func, right? So what does it do? Basically, let's add a value here. As you can see, it's a function that takes another function as a callback. And the function that it takes accepts one argument and returns a Boolean. It's as simple as that. The other part is just this generic part, which is a placeholder, and I don't think you should worry about it. So it can be super easy to understand. Let me show you. Let's create our own version of it. So I can say produce. What do we want to produce? First of all, we need to bring that callback in here. Let's accept an integer, returns a Boolean. This is the same signature that I just showed you from the standard library, right? What do we want to do? Well, let's assume we have some values that we want to offer to our consumer. The values that we want to offer in this case is just from this slice that we have. So let's range, and then we can say we have 10, 20, 30, 40. All right. So what do we want to do? It's simple. We can print something out and say producer offers this value that we have in the loop. Now, this is where this callback comes in because it controls the flow of the loop. If it returns false, you see, because it returns a Boolean, it can be true or false. So if it returns false, we know that we want to stop the loop. That means the consumer has signaled to stop the loop. So stopping the loop, we can also print something out and say consumer asked us to stop. And that's it. With this, we can bring it in here and do something. Pass the callback. For now, I am going to return true, which means we should see everything on the screen. So go run. This is my terminal down here, and I ran it, and you see we got all the values. So far, nothing complicated. What if we can add some conditions here? For example, maybe value or I, instead of the I, we can name it value to be more clearer. We can say value less than 30, and then we're going to see the 30 and stop at 30. Of course, why are we stopping at 30? Because we printed the value before we check the loop, so it makes sense. All right, but as you can see, in here, you control the behavior of this operation here using the callback, and that's it. Now, how does this translate to what we are looking at here? In most cases, this is used, which is sequence, right? The sequence. This sequence is returned from a function, and that is the area that some people are usually confused. So what I want to show you, let's start it. So let's come here now. Func count, and what we want to do, let's say first and last, is going to be an integer, and then iter.Seq, then int. When you see this as a returned type from a function, you know that you have to return this signature that you're seeing here. So we can return func like this, you see. With this in place, we can do almost the same thing that you're seeing here, right? And we decide how we construct or the value that we want to offer. And let's do it. For this is going to be really small. Value equal to the first value that they pop in, and we want to go as long as we have not reached last. So it's basically like a counter, and then value plus plus, right? In here, we check again. If yield is false, we want to return. And with that in play, we can test out, let's test it out here and see how it works. I can maybe delete this one for a minute. And then here, basic stuff. Since we know that count returns an iterator, let's say to 3, we know for sure that we can loop. So for number, range, count, and then we print. You see? Go run, and you see you have 1, 2, 3. So this is all that it is to the sequence. It basically gives you the opportunity to generate sequence. There is, as you can see, there is no magic. It doesn't have any pointer that is tracking internally. It doesn't do any memory work or anything. It is just for control. You can use it to control the operation of the loop. Now, there is a second version which you can take a look at. This Seq 2 that you have, the 2 is not a version. The 2 means instead of producing offering one value, it can offer 2 values as a pair, just like key value pairs. And you can read about it right here. So it is almost the same thing. The same way you are using this one. If you return this, you just have to return the same signature, and that's it. So there is no magic happening inside. In short, we created it here by ourselves without using this, and it works. So there is no magic about it. That's it about the iterator library. Of course, there are more things you can do with it. I have in my Udemy course, I have a section on generic, which we are going to use this a lot. So if you're interested in that, just let me know, and you can go and grab the course. I'll see you in the next video.